Hey everyone! Nintendo's little Switch that could is now a year old, so in honor of that, I decided to count down my top 10 personal favorite Nintendo franchises. Quick note before I begin, I only decided to include their original IPs on this list. I also didn't include any games that combined those IPs like Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart. With that being said, I'm just going to jump into it with my number 10 pick, Star Fox. Anyone who's stuck with Star Fox over the years could probably guess why it's at the bottom of this list. Years can go by without the release of a new game, and the last release was less than stellar. But I still think there's some life left in there. Star Fox 64 is still incredibly fun to play 20 years after its initial release. And despite its problems, I still enjoy Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube. With the failure of Star Fox Zero, who knows when we'll see another release. But flying through dangerous sections of space and destroying bad guys is always a good time, so I can only hope that this series doesn't go the way of F-Zero. Number 9, Fire Emblem. While it may have taken Super Smash Bros. To get Fire Emblem to American shores, it already had a thriving fanbase in Japan for years before that. The following behind this turn-based RPG series has been slowly growing on the DS family, with each new Smash release only helping the cause. There are actually a ton of great RPG series on the 3DS, but Fire Emblem always seems to stand out from the crowd thanks to its high difficulty curve and relationship mechanics. With the Switch giving Nintendo a plethora of usually handheld-only games to choose from, plus the release of Fire Emblem Warriors, it's only a matter of time before we get that core Fire Emblem game on the Switch, which will only make the fanbase grow larger. Number 8, Kirby. To be perfectly honest, Kirby gains a lot of extra points for being one of the most adorable characters that Nintendo has ever created, but these games also feature a killer mechanic that makes them incredibly fun to play. The ability to copy the attacks of your enemies turns what would be a generic side-scrolling platformer into something much more. Each new ability can change the way you approach a situation or boss fight, though admittedly on a small scale. Even though this series has been around for a really long time, Nintendo still finds new ways of reinventing this mechanic, such as being able to combine abilities in Kirby 64 or the use of mech suits in Kirby Planet Robobot. As long as they keep finding clever little ways to tweak what makes Kirby so great, players will keep coming back. Number 7, Animal Crossing. I will never forget playing Animal Crossing for the first time on the GameCube. As I've never played Sims before, it was the first time I experienced something like it, and man, was it addicting. The whole concept of playing a game in real time with different things happening on different days, forming relationships with the animals in your town, creating a unique sense of style with your wardrobe and your house, it was honestly a little mind-blowing. Since then, each new release has brought us more to do and more to strive for to make your town a wonderful place to live. And with the addition of being able to visit the towns of other players, we were given even more to do and more to find. Now, if we could just get a Switch version. Number 6, Yoshi. Possibly even cuter than Kirby games, I feel like Yoshi games don't quite get the credit they deserve. It probably has to do with the fact that there aren't a whole lot of them. Even still, Yoshi's Island was one of the most unique platformers on the Super Nintendo, and Yoshi's Woolly World for the Wii U had an immense amount of charm packed into it and was surprisingly difficult. While Yoshi may primarily be a sidekick to Mario, his solo games prove that there's more to him. And with the new, delightfully cute game coming to Switch in 2018, it looks like Nintendo is finding even more ways to make players feel like kids again. Number 5, Pokemon. I know a lot of people have fallen off of the Pokemon wagon by now, and myself included, but I also know the fanbase that has remained with the series is both massive and loyal. There's no denying what it's done for Nintendo and what it's done for the RPG genre. With each game brings all kinds of new gameplay elements like customizable avatars, new Pokemon types, competitions, and different battle mechanics, just to name a few. Even Pokemon Go brought something new to the series and brought many people who grew up with the original 151 back. With the Switch game currently in development, it seems like the franchise is showing no signs of slowing down. Number 4, Donkey Kong. For precise and sometimes soul-crushingly difficult platforming, there is no better series than Donkey Kong. Nintendo has played around with different gameplay mechanics over the years, but the series is at its best when it sticks to what works. DK and his friends running through the jungle, killing all the evil animals. The series has been quiet since 2010's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but hopefully with that port to the Switch this year, it'll drum up interest in a new game. I can only hope, because while it may be a tougher series to get into than Mario, it makes it all the more satisfying when you finally get past a tough section. Number 3, Metroid. First of all, out of all of Nintendo's franchises, Metroid seems like it would be the easiest and most successful when given a film adaptation, and I desperately want that to happen. Second of all, except for Other M, this series has received an immense amount of praise with each new release, and for good reason. The first game pushed the limits in scope and size for games when it was first released, and each new entry has pushed them even further. Not only that, but Samus is one of the leading ladies in gaming and one of Nintendo's most fleshed out characters. Strong and resilient, she rushes into any situation, no matter how terrifyingly gigantic the enemy is. Number 2, Super Mario. Simply put, if you like Nintendo, you like Mario. But what's not to like about the adorably portly plumber? The story is always a little basic, yes, but the gameplay shows just how much love Nintendo puts into their titles. Each one feels similar enough not to alienate casual players, but just unique enough to keep hardcore players coming back for more. And while half of each game may not be that difficult, there's always another half full of some of the toughest and well-designed levels in platforming history that will truly test your mettle. One of my most satisfying gaming memories is completing Super Mario Bros. 3 for the first time, because completing every single thing a Mario game has to offer is quite the feat. Every power-up, every quirky level design, every single character is filled to the brim with that signature Nintendo charm. And number 1, The Legend of Zelda. Deciding the order of this top 10 was a little tricky, but the number 1 spot always remained the same. The Legend of Zelda has been my favorite gaming series for a long time, let alone favorite Nintendo series. There's something so incredibly freeing about being plopped into a world and given the freedom to explore, something that the latest game in the series, Breath of the Wild, heavily focused on. Also, Zelda has always been a groundbreaking series when it comes to gameplay and story. While the most popular games in the series are each a variation on the Save the Princess storyline, some of my favorites branch out from the formula in unexpected but welcome ways. Majora's Mask is one of the first games I can remember playing to include side quests that make you genuinely care about the people around you. Even the ones where you do have to rescue Zelda explore different relationships between her and Link. Because of its pure willingness to evolve and try new things with each entry, it just wouldn't feel right putting anything else at number 1. And that is my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, I am just one guy on the internet, so please let me know what your favorite Nintendo series are in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, be sure to subscribe so you can see more like it. Thanks, and I will see you all very soon.